Hello everyone, well, a bit of a different video for you today. I'm out and about in the car, not going far from home, only about 10 minutes, to a place called Burwell Fen, which is an area that I take inspiration from, but I haven't been here for a long time. So I brought my sketchbook along and I'm going to take some reference photos and then we'll go back to the studio and see if we can produce a painting from it. So hope this will be an interesting video for you. Please give it a like if you enjoy it, and I'll see you in a bit once I've gone and grabbed a coffee. I forget how far it is to get down to the car park at the Fen on this bumpy road. 5 minutes has actually become 10. We're almost there now. Yes, we do have to drive through a farmyard whilst avoiding huge potholes. So Burwell Fen is part of a National Trust site called Wicken Fen, and it's a huge area of fenland that has been preserved in its original wetland state. It's really one of only a few areas that is actually left in its original condition. Most of it has been drained, as you can see, for farmland, for food production, and it's full of hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of miles of drainage channels that helps to lower the water table, reveals the often peat soil to enable us to grow the food that we need to survive. And there's pros and cons of large-scale farming, but here in the Fen there is very much an eye on conservation, water management, environmental management, which is very important, and I think it works pretty well out here in the Fens. A lot of people often say that there's not a huge amount of wildlife here in the Fens, but those of us that live here beg to differ. What's not to love about this? This is my inspiration. We get a lot of wading birds, which you can probably hear in the distance. And these areas of flooded fields obviously pop up over the winter, providing much needed areas for these birds as they're making their way to other parts of the country. Often we get a lot of birds that migrate up to the Norfolk coast, but they also migrate to here and to the wetlands at Welney up in Norfolk, in West Norfolk. It's the vast sky though that inspires me here. It's quite windy, but we're gonna see if we can just get something up. So obviously we've got the main pond area, but we've got a bit of a drainage channel going off. So I'm going to do the back end of the pond and have that going right across the front of the drawing, and then I can put this small outlet area in. There's actually a little embankment there across the field, so I assume it's to allow the cattle to go across from one field to the other. So we can put that in. There's a very stiff wind blowing today. I'm hoping it's not too much of a problem on the camera, otherwise I'll have to do a voiceover. And then we've got another crossing point there. So I'm putting this bit in first because hopefully that will help me to gauge where everything else needs to sit. I think that wind has picked up on purpose, you know. I haven't been outside sketching like this for a very, very long time. One thing you do need to be careful of when you're sketching out in the fens is to make sure your horizontals are horizontal. I can see an egret, a little egret going across. There are so many horizontals, these field edges, the boundaries between each field, that actually just seems to go on forever. I've got up to this point where I can see the edge of some reeds. I'm just going to make those a bit more obvious. And then we have got a small tree that pokes up. I'll sit that in there, and it's got a few hedges next to it, but not a great deal. Beyond that, we have some more reeds. Then right in the very distance, we have got some clumps of trees, and actually I can just shade those in now. Kind of stops the picture at the end there. They actually continue all the way across here. So we'll just put those in very quickly. And some more across here. We have some more defined sort of tree shapes. So we'll work our way across. Don't need to be too exact here. Nobody's going to be too worried about whether I have got a lot of these trees in the right place. I'm going more for the atmosphere rather than actual depiction. So let's make these a bit more definite there. Right. So I'm going to work my way forward. You can see a bit of a ditch go back further there. Let's put this reed bed in here. Sun's coming out, that's rather lovely. Need that because it's not particularly warm. So on this side, I'll try and get my position right. We can, yeah, we've got some trees just here. What you'll notice about trees in the Fens is that they lean to in a particular direction because of the prevailing wind. And then we've got some more trees, bits and pieces going on over here. They're actually a lot taller. Wasn't concentrating then. Let's put them in. There's 3 of those. There's actually quite a few more trees. The thing about here in the Fens, you get these kind of clumps of woodland and copses dotted around. Okay, so let's go down to the second passing places there. So let's put a little bit more detail here. We've actually got another section of wetland just there. And then we do have a bit more of a hedgerow in this section. It actually works its way all the way across. And we've got some cows in the field there, so we need to put them in. They're quite straightforward. Big rectangular block, some bits sticking out of it. There's lots of little tufts and things going on. Cows move, so you don't need to be too worried about that. So I'll just angle my shading, gives it that impression of the bank going down to the channel. Again, we've got lots of little tufts and things going on. Then we've got this foreground. So we're just looking to add in some texture of the tufts. Again, this has got a little bit of a slope down towards the water there, so we can indicate that. Let's put some vertical shading in. Don't think I brought an eraser with me, but we can use the end of this mechanical pencil. I'll get rid of that. And in case you're wondering, I'm using a 6B Faber-Castell 9000 jumbo pencil, which I love. Brilliant for sketches like this. You can really lay the graphite down quite thickly, but you can also get a good point with it. So the wind is really blowing across the top of that water, so we can show that effect with some horizontal lines across. And the birds have taken shelter deep in this area here. So I just need to put in some sort of sky, and it's a low cloud day. Clouds are scuttling across. I'm pleased that it stopped raining because there was a few spots in the air when I arrived. So we've got those horizontals again, but this time obviously with clouds. I'm just using the edge of the pencil there to lay down the clouds very quickly. A lot of movement. I was going to tone this down so we know that is definitely grass. There we go. 27th of February 2026. So here's a closer look at this sketch. It's not always easy to film when you're outside, but you can see the cows there, the birds sheltering in the channel, trees in the background. And there's the actual view. I think I'm going to take a few more reference photos, and then I think it's time to go back to the studio because it is cold out here, and I'm a fair weather plein air painter.